Now it's time for the O'Hara News and Editorial. This is the show that brings you news through the lens of men's rights activism. Robert O'Hara and co-host James Huff bring you current events and important guests who will share their insights as well. We also invite the most important people to share their thoughts and experiences here on the One You. This show invites callers to discuss the events of the week with the hosts and our guests. We want your involvement. So listen, call in, and experience the one show that gives it to you straight in a way no other media outlet will. Let's begin the O'Hara News and Editorial. As it happens, when guests either can't make it or none are available, tonight we are going to have another free-for-all. Topics of discussion will include the recent firing of University of Wisconsin wrestling coach Tim Fader and the associated Title IX hysteria, the ongoing success of the Parsoness Foundation's research on Bazalgel, and of course, goings-on in the news. Free-for-alls are always fun, so please join us and call in to share anything you like. And we're back with another edition of the O'Hara News and Editorial on this October 7th, 2014. Glad to be back. Sorry for the absence last week. Had something I couldn't get out of, so had to wait till this week. And we tried to get a couple of guests on tonight, but they couldn't make it or were unavailable. So sorry about that. But we have a nice, really good free-for-all. We got a lot of things to talk about. James, how was your week?
So far, so good, man. Last week was pretty okay too, I guess. So far, This week has been nice. I'm happy.
Good. Well, it's always good to hear that you're happy. I hope everybody else had a good week too. We're going to go ahead and get into the news here. We have several really cool news items to talk about. Hoping to get some. I'm still hoping to get somebody to call in about them. But I want to start off with.
Oh no, I think we just lost Robert. Robert, I can no longer hear you. Well, I'll tell you what we will start off with. Until Robert gets back. We're going to start out with a India Today put out the Dehli Commission for Women concerned with the rise of false rape charges. Now, I looked at this and thought, oh my God, some international news here that needs to be covered. Dropped this off at our international news group and said, you know what, we need to go ahead and cover this thing as is. So here we go. Frivolous rape cases are on the rise in the capital if the rape crisis cell of the Dehli Commission for Women is to be believed. According to the data, 1,466 of the 2,753 rape cases registered with the Women's Panel between April 2013 and July of 2014 were found to be false. Chairperson of the Dehli Commission for Women, Barka Singh, said such frivolous complaints were worrisome. We examine these cases very carefully. Some women are using this as a tool to extort vulnerable men, she said, adding that some women were taking it as business. Of the total cases registered, only 1,287 cases have been proven to be correct. As per the data, there has been a considerable rise in the registration of rape cases in the last 7 months. According to the data retrieved during the period June 2013 to December 2013, as many as 525 false rape cases were registered with the Women's Panel. The number went up to 900 between January and July this year. The kind of cases that generally turn out to be false were mostly filed by live-in partners, people who want to settle personal scores, and those who want to implicate their in-laws in cases. Quote, in many cases, the complainant turns hostile and revenge or extortion of money emerges to be the most common reason for filing a false complaint, says Suratokas, the DCW member and member in charge of the rape crisis cell. And this was told to Mail Today. Quote, a few months ago, a woman tenant had come to file a case of sexual assault against her landlord. While we recorded her statement and asked her about the expectation of the case, she demanded 32 lak, which is their currency. She also refused to get her medical examination done and was reluctant to go to court when offered legal help. Over a period of cross-questioning, it turned out to be a false case, said Tokas. Another case of false rape charges were pressed against a top hospital official by one of the women's staffers. During the course of the investigation, it had been revealed that she wanted to get her duty shift changed to the daytime. She, according to the women's panel sources, admitted that she implicated the hospital official in the case. To find out the probity of such cases, the rape crisis cell, along the counselors, carried out a thorough investigation into the allegation. Quote, these cases are extremely sensitive, so we work hard to ensure that acquittal does not happen easily. Speedy justice is given to the victim. We also help the victim collect evidence and give financial assistance for medical checkup, Tokas said. She said the complainant's cross-examination often reveals the prohibity of such cases. The Commission has the powers to penalize anyone or reprimand the person who registers false cases. The complainants are warned against pressing false charges. That's over 50%. Over 50%, Robert. Out of the 2,753 rape cases registered between April 2013 and July 2014, 1,466 of them were found to be false. And this is coming from the Dehli Commission for Women.
Right, it's coming from a feminist organization.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I saw. First of all, I'm sorry I dropped out. My headset needs to be replaced. But anyway, I saw a commenter on Reddit that was commenting on this story, and he said, right now, feminist organizations around the world are contacting this organization in India and telling them to shut up. They're putting them in line. They have let the cat out of the box in this regard. This is a feminist organization that has basically said, okay, 50% of all accusations of sexual assault are false. And the motivations behind these are financial and for revenge. And there's a list of other things that studies have shown. This is, seriously, you just can't get any better validation for our arguments about false rape accusations other than this report. And there's no reason to suggest that women have the same motivations for falsely.
I would love for O.N.E to get hold of this report.
Oh, well, I'm sure he's read it already. I'm sure he has. I haven't asked him, but maybe I'll ping him on Skype, see what's going on.
Dude, let's do that.
I'd like to see see what kind of reaction it's getting amongst men's rights activists in India right now. I really should ping him. I know he's a very busy guy. He's hard to get in touch with. But this is a real bombshell. The importance of this story cannot be overstated. These people actually said, boom, look at all these false rape accusations. Oh my God. And of course their reaction is typical. Well, we don't want dismissals too quickly. Well, listen, if the bitch fucking lied, you dismiss it right away. That's it. You dismiss the case right away. And if and this whole business of like, well, we need to compensate these women for their medical exams and all this other stuff. No, I think that they should have to pay for it. If they lied, they should have to pay for everything, the entire investigation, everything. It's just crazy. It's like when I interviewed this guy, the president of the Association for Title IX Coordinators, Ben Sokolow was his name. I hope I said that correctly. It's been a while, but in the interview, he conceded that there's a real problem with false rape accusations, and I of course I responded, okay, so what are you going to do about this? Are we going to start punishing these people for lying to the authorities or for lying to university officials, for lying to them about this guy raping them and ruining this guy's career and spending all this academic career and spending all this money? Are we going to punish these people for doing what is obviously very wrong? He said, no, we have to try to get them help. When does the money train stop? When did people start calling bullshit on this? It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm sorry, James. Didn't mean to hog up things.
No, yeah. Go for it, man.
Crazy.
I think the article speaks for itself.
Sure.
That's insane, dude.
It is insane. And I'm very interested to see what happens, what the response, or actually, here's what I predict is going to happen. They're just not going to. Pardon me for a second. They're just not going to. I think what's going to happen is we're not going to see any response from the feminists, from other feminist organizations around the world. They're just going to keep their mouths shut.
Well, you know what? This is a bombshell, dude.
Absolutely.
I think this needs to be talked about in a big way.
Well, we're going to talk about it, but they're not going to talk about it. They're going to do everything they can to not publicize it.
So folks, be prepared for us to talk about it.
Oh, sure.
More.
Yeah. Oh, we're not going to stop. We should make this a featured link on the ABFM website. Should be put part of the facts page. It should be readily available to anybody who comes to ABFM. But we should, first of all, be prepared to this is not the...
it's already on our Hot on the Web.
Yeah, sure. But this was a journalistic story and not the actual report itself. Is the actual report itself available online?
I don't know. That's why it's a good idea to get hold of our Indian contacts and see what we can see. Sure.
All right.
Anyway, 50%, man.
Yeah, it validates everything that we have been saying for years about this issue. Everything. And you have people who will discredit the Canaan study that was done in the Midwest back in the mid '80s, showing that about 40% of allegations turned out to be false. The study was done by the Air Force, showing that about 45% turned out to be false. Now, both of these studies used what their methodology was, is they basically said, okay, are you willing to take a polygraph? And that's when the women confessed and said, no, I lied. That is what determined the classification of a false accusation. And people, these feminists, they're constantly trying to discredit these things. Because those things are all discredited. They're a bunch of bunk.
The Air Force study that was done in 1986 and was buried.
Yeah, it was buried by the Air Force itself. And actually, the colonel who was in charge of the investigation, he got dismissed from the military. I think he actually lost his job.
Yes, he did.
For doing a study. This guy was asked to do this job. He did it. He did a remarkably good job. The results just weren't what these people wanted to see, so they fired his ass. I mean, it's just amazing the lengths that these people will go to. It's amazing. You got to ask yourself, why do these gender ideologues have such sway over these very important institutions like the press, the military, the justice system, our education system? Why do they have this much influence? I don't think there's a simple answer to that. But I think a lot of it lies in this. I think this is an important concept. I think a lot of it lies in this mechanism that human beings have, that we must believe women, and when they say that they've been harmed in some way, because we have to protect them at all costs, even the costs of due process. And if anybody, is seen to be challenging something a woman says, or to be challenging, or to simply say, hey, I disagree with this whole idea that 1 in 5 women are raped. I think men who are accused of rape should have due process. If someone is seen publicly as standing up for the rights of the accused, they're destroyed. They're destroyed. And they have destroyed people like this in the past. They destroyed this colonel's military career.
How much you want to bet the people who were quoted inside of this article they're gonna disappear here soon?
They are done. You will never hear from them again. They will never certainly never get a job at another feminist organization ever again. And they will go after these people. They will go after these people personally. The attack will be personal, and it will be the end result will be the loss of an entire life. They will destroy their reputation. These people, they're going to be homeless.
But this was the chairperson.
Yeah.
Of the Dehli Commission for Women.
They're not going to be the chairperson for very much longer. Nope. Amazing. Folks, I'm sorry that I was cut out earlier on, but I was covering an article along the same vein about this coach at the University of Wisconsin, Tim Fader, wrestling coach, who was dismissed from his job for actually calling the police to report an alleged sexual assault. He was approached by a student's mother who said that her daughter had been raped by one of his recruits. The first thing he thought, like the first thing most people think when someone accuses somebody of a crime, was to call the police, and that's what he did. He called the police. He said, I have an accusation here for sexual assault. What do I do? And the police, of course, said, well, bring this guy into the station. We want to have a talk with him. That's what they did. They got this kid. He was a recruit and an assistant coach. Got this recruit, put him in the car, said, listen, you've been accused of raping somebody. And the recruit willfully went down to the police station, cooperated fully with the police, and the police never made an arrest. Well, that tells you something right there. Furthermore, 2 days later, this mother called up the coach again and said, I'm sorry, telling you what I told you was a mistake. Basically saying, in so many words, saying that what my daughter said happened didn't happen. And he thought that it was going to be the end of it after that. This coach honestly thought, okay, well, this is the end of this issue. Well, 2 weeks later, after the Title IX police get a hold of this story, they say, this guy needs to be dismissed because he needs to be suspended because he didn't let us know first. Now, why would they do that? Well, here's the deal. They want to be the ones to met out justice. Why do they want to be the ones to met out justice? Well, because if the police get involved, the police do this pesky little thing called an investigation, in which they collect these pesky little things called facts.
Oh no!
And they actually have to go.
Facts are patriarchal.
There's this thing called the Bill of Rights. That says that you are entitled to due process.
That's a patriarchal construct too.
Yeah, and you cannot arrest somebody without probable cause. Another big patriarchal process. And they will actually say this in these terms. They will actually say they'll say, well, they're hiding behind this thing called due process. Well, that's something that we have to have. But anyway, this guy gets suspended from his job. He's reeling over this. And when the 2014-15 school year comes around, they give him notice that he's not going to get his contract renewed for this year. He loses his job. Why? Because the university, after hearing about this, did an investigation into his actual um, leadership as being the coach of this team, and they found some what he calls minor violations of recruiting practices. These are the kind of recruiting violations he actually there was a booster that brought a kid to the school to look around. That is a violation of the rule, but not a very serious one. Nothing that a coach would lose his job over. And then they accused him of having one of his assistant coaches going and watching a practice routine for a potential recruit, which is a violation of the rules that they do look down upon. But those are the only details we got from the school. We don't know what the actual violations were or anything like that. And keep in mind, this is something I didn't put in my article when I wrote about this. They actually hired a football coach that was dismissed from another school for making even more serious violations of the recruitment policies. Making even more, so clearly, this was not about, had nothing to do with his recruitment procedures, which is his practices and actually going out and getting students to wrestle for him. This had to do, clearly this had to do with him actually calling the police when he was told that one of his recruits had raped a student. That's what this is all about. It's crazy. It's crazy. This guy was a brilliant wrestling coach. He had All-Americans on the team. He was a 3-time defender of the championship. He was the coach of the year. Just amazing. And they destroyed this guy. Why? Because if you go against what these people want you to do, you must be destroyed. You must be destroyed. It's not good enough that they tell you not to do it ever again. It's not good enough that somebody comes in and says to your office and says, hey, in the future, you have to let us know about this first. That's not good enough. No, you must be destroyed. It's called a totalitarian mindset. That's what it is. And these people are destroying due process. They're destroying it. I think they've already destroyed our education system in a lot of ways. But their goal is to get rid of due process. Totalitarian mindset, statist mindset. That's what these people do. And if you dare question them or expose them or go against what they want you to do procedurally, even though you know what you're doing is the right thing to do, like calling the police if someone says they've been raped, well, no, you have to be destroyed. It's amazing. It's amazing there is not an uproar about this. There isn't. We've got a handful of activist groups standing up and speaking out about this. And what happens to us? We get isolated by the press. There's yellow journalism surrounds what we do. You can't even look up a story in the mainstream media about men's rights activism that's anything else but negative. It actually paints us not just in a negative light, but associates us with mass murderers and rapists and wife beaters. And this is what these people do. It's what these people do. And this letter that was written to every senator in the Senate by this group, this campus reform group. Sure, that was a great gesture, but they're not gonna pay that any heed. They're gonna ignore it. That letter that was sent to most, I'm sure most Senate staffers threw it in the waste paper basket as soon as they got it. They don't care. These people, they don't care about fairness. They don't care about that. They have this narrative. They have this worldview. And if you go against it, if you even question it, you must be destroyed. It's not enough that someone go and say, hey, this is proper procedure. From now on, you call the university first. No. Because if you do that, then the guy can actually say, well, wait a minute. This is a crime. Shouldn't we call the police first? No, they can't have anybody questioning them. They can't have that. But this guy, he's out of a job. He is out of a job. I tried to contact him. I haven't heard from him yet. I'd like to have him on the show. I really want to hear his thoughts. I really want to hear his story. A real terrible tragedy that happened to this guy and this coaching program. And I think it's a tragedy what's happening to our education system. It's depressing, really. But that's what's happening. What are your thoughts on that story, James?
I don't know what to think, man.
Yeah, well,
That's just it's fucking unbelievable.
there was a commenter here on the story that said, even though it cost Tim Fader his job, his name is Zane. He said, even though it cost Tim Fader his job by going to the police first, he most likely saved the falsely accused student from having his life and reputation destroyed by Whitewater University and the media. They wouldn't have just railroaded him to a guilty verdict. They would have just railroaded him to a guilty verdict through their sham tribunal system in order to appear tough on sexual assault, thereby appeasing government investigators. When people have that much riding on something and it turns out that they're wrong, they'll do just about anything to conceal the truth. They'll destroy or falsify documents. They'll even lie under oath. And the false accuser, well, with that kind of pressure, good luck getting them to recant their story. An innocent man will end up going to jail. Considering the liability, I don't understand why universities don't just tell the Justice Department to go fuck itself and then refer all criminal matters to the police. It's not like the DOJ is offering to pay the legal costs of universities that are successfully sued. Well, I'll tell you it's not just the DOJ, it's the Department of Education. They have Title IX money in their hands. And if you go against their policies, no matter how unconstitutional or unethical, you don't get that money. And people in our university system are money-grubbing whores. That's what they are. And in response to that particular comment, Avery said, and therein lies the crime. He deprived America's feminized educational system of another victim to add to its, quote, rape culture statistics and its appeals for funding more of the same. The false accuser, on the other hand, will receive her honors diploma in, quote, gender studies at a special ceremony very shortly. Which is a very, very accurate description of what's going on. It's crazy. The outrage is, it's outrageous. Sorry, Joe, you go on to your next one. Yeah, it is unreal. It's surreal. It really is. Anyway.
Oh, here we go. This is coming out of Spiked. University, lads, blokes, and jocks not welcome. Universities now treat male students as deviants in need of re-education. Higher education's crusade against so-called lad culture stretches far beyond the puritanical killjoys at the National Union of Students. On both sides of the Atlantic, some university managers and academics have a serious issue with male students and are on a mission to expunge from campus any whiff of laddishness. In the U.S., debate ensues about the possibility rather than the desirability of banning fraternities. While the legalities are batted to and fro, some institutions have introduced mixed sex and alcohol-free regimes, effectively ending the tradition of all-male college associations. Those behind the new schemes obviously assume the presence of women will civilize the fraternities, which stand accused of promoting sexism and alcohol-fueled risk-taking. Meanwhile, in the UK, panics over misogyny and rape culture have led Scottish academics to campaign for lads' mags to be banned from university shops, while misbehaving rugby club members at Oxford are being sent for re-education at sexual consent and good lad workshops. All too often, men at university are seen as a problem, and men in groups even more so. Such concerns go beyond the antics of all-male sports teams on a beery night out and carry over into the classroom. Male students are indicted for messing about, not taking their studies seriously, and generally being disruptive. One group of academics has received funding to investigate the behavior of men at university. Their advocacy research poses loaded questions, such as how many lectures and universities begin to challenge and change problematic laddish attitudes and behaviors. Perhaps unsurprisingly, these surveys have found that men just don't seem to really care. They just think it's cool to sit there and talk. Even relatively mild-mannered male students are considered to dominate seminars in a way that silence female voices. For some lecturers, it seems the presence of men in their classroom is a particular challenge to be managed, rather than simply being part and parcel of the often mundane experience of teaching. Even the quietest and most placid male students are seen as a problem for universities. Research conducted for the UK-based Equality Challenge Unit suggests men are less likely to participate in academic mentoring programs, are unwilling to ask their tutor for advice if they get a bad mark for a piece of work, and are less likely to attend tutorials. Outside of the classroom, even sympathetic academics bemoan the reluctance of male students to engage with the ever-increasing array of student support and well-being services on offer. When male students experience difficulties at university, they are more likely to keep it to themselves or turn to friends, perhaps even discussing their troubles over a beer rather than using the institution's qualified counselors and support officers. This refusal to seek help when things go wrong is cited as the number one explanation for men being significantly more likely than women to drop out of university before they've completed their degrees. For those men who stay the course and complete the studies, chances are they'll perform less well than their female counterparts. Whereas 79% of women get at least a 2.1 degree classification, only 70% of men score this highly. Importantly, this attainment gap exists even when comparing the results of students who entered university with exactly the same levels of prior academic achievement. Perhaps not surprising, then, that boys vote with their feet and don't apply to university in such large numbers in the first place. In Britain, 57.5% of students are female. This overall statistic hides the fact that at some universities, women outnumber men 2 to 1, and on some courses such as veterinary science and subjects allied to medicine, over 75% of students are now female. Now, despite making up a greater proportion of the overall population aged 18 to 21, men are less likely to go to university, more likely to drop out if they do get there, and if they stay, are less likely to come out with a good degree pass. Yet, instead of being seen as a cause for concern, attention is focused on the experience of women. The Equality Challenge Unit awards a gender equality charter mark to institutions that can demonstrate they have addressed gender equalities. Quote, in particular, the underrepresentation of women in senior roles. In addition, universities pour considerable resources into securing one of the ECU's Athena Swan Awards, which recognizes commitment to, quote, advancing women's careers in science, technology, engineering, maths, and medicine. Give me just a second to get a drink here. I love my coffee. In contrast, schemes aimed at tackling the underrepresentation of boys in higher education tend to be piecemeal, condescending, and underfunded. The University of Edinburgh, for example, has launched Educated Pass, an initiative which aims to get boys hooked on university through links with local football clubs. Never mind the assumption that all boys are interested in football. More worrying is the idea that people working for universities can't dream up a way to tell boys that higher education is exciting in its own terms. The Recruitment Through Football initiative sums up the mixed impression boys, and working class boys in particular, are given about higher education. They are flattered and patronized to get them through the door of the university, and then, once inside, they witness staff and fellow students throw their hands up in horror at their unreconstructed maleness. In the feminized environment of today's university, group work is often valued above individual performance. Participation and effort are recognized as equivalent to achievement. And the single-minded pursuit of knowledge has been replaced by rewarding students who are most able to decry the arrogance of truth claims. While the promotion of sustainability, citizenship, and inclusivity trump inculcation into a world of knowledge, the physical presence of men on campus embodies a particular challenge to the values of the university as an institution and to some lecturers as individuals. Higher education currently has no place for the qualities traditionally associated with masculinity, and this message is conveyed to male students in all aspects of university life. It should hardly be surprising that, when made to feel so unwelcome, young men either rebel or vote with their feet. Robert?
That was a great article. Truly one of the better ones that I've heard. This is real. What's going on with our education system, and it's not happening just here in the U.S. It's happening worldwide.
I mean, this is coming out of England, out of Great Britain.
This is happening worldwide. There is a concerted effort, and I can defend this statement anywhere. There is a concerted effort to make males, right from kindergarten age all the way up through post-secondary education, to make males the educational underclass of society. Males.
Well, you know,
males, they're going, hey, the only good men are good for is they can coal out of the ground.
Hey,
car.
if you need a group of second-class citizens, the first thing you need to do is remove from them the tools of education.
Right, absolutely. And how do you do that? You do in every the way this happens in any other venue. You demonize them, you dehumanize them. You can take basic human rights away from people if you dehumanize them. Not that I would think that higher education is a basic human right. Of course, it's not. Not everybody can attain that. Not everyone can afford it. Not everyone is qualified for it. There's certainly nothing wrong with doing something else that requires something less than a bachelor's degree. Absolutely not. But if you want to deny people an opportunity to educate themselves, and everybody should have an opportunity to seek an education, then you have to dehumanize them. And this it's clearly what's going on here. Now, what's the outcome of all this? Is it? Are men really going to vote with their feet and go somewhere else? Well, where are they going to go? If you have the entire public education system, its funding here in the U.S., Title IX, and to a large extent, and they're going to go after the accreditation process too. Where are you going to go? Voting with your feet really isn't enough. You have to fight this. You have to fight these people. Because if you just let them, the attitude says, I'll just drop out of school and I'll do something else. Yeah, that's great if you want to do that. That's wonderful. Nothing wrong. Hey, no problem with that. But if you think that they're going to stop the school system,
Oh, hell no, they're not going to stop.
You're dreaming.
They'll never stop.
No, they will. It's insatiable.
In fact, give me just a second here. I mean, this is a free-for-all, right?
Yes, a free-for-all.
I'm gonna invoke my free-for-all privileges as the official co-host of this show.
Please do. Free-for-all time.
We've got this article. I shouldn't call it. It's a blog post written by a feminist who goes by the name of Witchwin. Now she hangs with and around the original Radfem Club, Radfem Hub Club, okay, and she's literally talking about the reduction of men's position in society. Calls them all serial killers, torturers, pimps, pornographers, domestic abusers, serial rapists, genocide planners, biocide planners, and pedocriminals. Demands that people simply be euthanized, not put into jail. Okay? Just kill them. Yeah. And this for men only, of course. And all of men's alive and euthanized belongings, properties, resources, and land should be confiscated from them and handed back to female care and supervision. Men above the age of 15 or younger, if very asocial, should live separately from women and children, on their own, isolated from one another. So no male space. Scattered around so women can keep an eye on them. Never be allowed to group into packs. That would be declared illegal. They would have to care for themselves, do their own food, laundry, etc. No male above age of puberty would be allowed to receive any kind of service from a female. Their life expectancy would probably drop to the age of 40, but that's how things should be. I'm going to post this link into the chat, guys. There you go. This is not the first time that this person has been addressed by people who've worked with AVFM before. She's dead fucking serious. Go there, screenshot that motherfucker like I have for your own archives. Read that thing. Listen to this. In order to keep all men and post-pubescent boys busy, you want to send them to clean up detritus, pollution, toxic waste. So send them to go clean up all that stuff. Fathers' rights will cease to exist. No such thing as fatherhood. The inalienable right of each woman to control every phase of her reproduction and life creation, abortion possible at any stage of pregnancy. However, there will hardly be a thing as undesired pregnancy, since there won't be any men forcing pregnancies on us anymore. This is the same woman who wrote that all PIV, or penis and vagina sex, is rape. This is your feminism. Right here. This is feminism. This is the real face of feminism.
Make no mistake. These people have taken over our school system.
The nuclear family will be abolished. Sound familiar? In particular, parents.
They've taken over our family court system.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Children will be considered as persons in need for autonomy and all forms of punishment, authority, and educational manipulation over children will be equally abolished. Raising and caring for children will be collective responsibility for women.
The state.
Schools as we know them, uh, punitive reclusion centers for grooming into male domination and female subordination will be abolished. Boys will not be around the girls and never beyond the age of puberty, and absolutely no adult male should be allowed near children. There'll be no more teachers. Instead, you have what are called guiders, where the kids can learn whatever the damn hell thing they want to learn. Learning would be autonomous. All relationships of authority, domination, subordination will be abolished between all women of all ages. Period. All oppressive male institutions abolished after men have been removed from them. No more military. No more state. Men would be permanently banned from any kind of medical practice. Listen to this, all women-hating genocidal institutions such as gynecology, psychiatry, obstetrics, big pharma will be banned. Men's fragmented, objectifying, sadistic view of the human body will be a part of history, replaced by biophilic medicine. Perfect health would be the normal state of women. And she absolutely believes that women will rediscover their healing, divination, and extrasensory communication powers. Patriarchal religions will go away. And of course, here's the good one right here. And this is the one that ties radical feminism in with Marxism and socialism. Men's capitalistic systems will be abolished. Yep. The necrophilic relationship to the world and the environment will be abolished. Holy crap. No genetic modifications of anything will be allowed. Agriculture will only be small scale. This person wants everybody to live in the huts.
Yeah. Well, that's the utopia they're talking about. Certainly not something I think most women would want. At least not most women I know. But they don't care what women want. They don't. They have a worldview. Maybe they'll say I can't.
This is
say
feminism. This is what
this
feminism
is the true
is
face of feminism.
At its very core, this is exactly what feminism is.
And all these all these apologists, they say,
it's not like
they're just
that.
radical feminists. It's like, hold on a second. These are the people in charge. These are the people who are calling the shots. Make no mistake. When you have
these are the people
the Department of Education doing away with due process
agenda.
Yes, absolutely.
They know what they're doing at the top. Not to sound all conspiracy-ish, but I mean, it was plainly
they're doing it in the open.
They're doing it in the open. And this shit was written about decades ago of what they would do and how they would go about doing it. It's not like they're doing it in a vacuum.
No.
The instruction manuals were written decades ago. And they're doing a damn fine job of following those instructions. I can't stress enough for anybody else who happens to be listening to the sound of my voice right now that you go and check out the Red Stockings Manifesto. Red Stockings Manifesto. Go look at it. Read it. And look at the parallels between everything that this feminist is saying. And you can call her radical, but I don't call her radical. There's no need. She's a feminist. Period. This is what it boils down to. Look at what she has to write. Take a look at the Red Stockings Manifesto. Look at all the similarities between what she's saying and what the Red Stockings says. And these are the type of people that are teaching in our schools. These are the type of people that are informing policy to our, or informing direction of policy to our politicians and our bureaucrats. And they know how to do it incrementally. They've been doing it incrementally. We're like frogs sitting in a pot of water and we're turning the heat up. Frog would jump out if we just dropped him in the boiling water. The frog doesn't realize the temperature's being turned up the whole time. It's gonna cook. The population is sitting here cooking in feminist ideology. Most people are too blind to see it. What do you think, Robert?
I think we've been going on for about an hour now, almost. I think we should do a music break and go on to our next stories. We have a few more really good stories for y'all. And so we're going to discuss them and take callers.
Hey.
How's that sound to you?
Sounds like a good deal to me.
All right, cool.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and play a song then.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And we're back for the O'Hara News and Editorial. Hope you all enjoyed the music break. Our call-in number is 214-272-0408. Again, that is 214-272-0408. Please call in. We got a lot to talk about. It's a good show. I am going to go on to what I think is a pretty important news story concerning the Kennesaw State University men event that is coming up on November 1st. As expected, there has been the formation of what is self-described to be a student and faculty group on campus called Men Formation, whose sole purpose is to protest the upcoming event coming on November 1st. This group was started, it was announced only just a couple weeks ago, the 24th of September, when obviously the conference being held on November 1st was drawing near. This is clearly a reactionary group that wants to oppose what's going to happen on November 1st. And their first post on their Tumblr blog reads, "Welcome." This is dated 24th of September, 2014. "Welcome. Hello and welcome to Men Formation Blog. A group of KSU students, faculty, and staff have started this blog in an effort to share information about the important issues surrounding men's and boys' rights and the men's movement specifically. A couple of really important points to start with. One, this blog is anonymous for one reason. The men's rights movement has an established record of harassing, intimidating, and otherwise threatening its detractors. We'll cover that in some posts later on. Our anonymity is not a signal that we feel we are doing anything wrong or harmful, or a signal that we are afraid of anyone or anything, but rather a signal that those we are dealing with have a record of not engaging in rational discourse, all that well, and that we'd rather not get threatened with rape. Two, the purpose of this blog is not to attack men." Let's say that again. The purpose of this blog is not to attack men, nor is it to minimize the real issues that affect men and boys. The purpose of this blog is to raise consciousness around the issues that are relevant to men and boys and the methods and strategies currently being used by the men's rights movement so that individuals in and around the KSU community can more easily make an informed decision regarding those issues. Three, this is directed specifically to men's rights activists. All information posted to this blog is stored elsewhere, and any attempts to hack the blog, remove the information, etc., will only result in us creating the blog again. Heck, maybe we'll even create it twice. So please don't bother. We're just sharing information about your cause. So that should be a good thing, right? Okay, now as to the third point, I just read the introduction to your blog. So trust me, there is no effort on our part to hack your precious little blog. There's not. Now I'm going to go to the first point where you say that the men's rights movement has an established record of harassing, intimidating, and otherwise threatening its detractors. No one in the men's rights movement, there is no established record of this, ever. There's been a lot of accusations, but no established record of it. None of the claims about men's rights activists as men's rights activists threatening other individuals that disagree with men's rights activism and activists have ever been validated. There's never been a single, all these people that say they've gotten death threats and rape threats online, not a single one of their claims have been validated. Not one. Not one. And I don't know of a single instance where any men's rights activist identifying as such has ever threatened anybody with rape. Not one. Why don't you? This is a challenge to you people. Why don't you show me a single instance where this has been validated? There's a lot of accusation here, no validation, no proof. Now, as to your second point, the purpose of this blog is not to attack men, nor is it to minimize the real issues that affect men and boys. The purpose of this blog is to raise the consciousness around the issues that are relevant to men and boys, and the methods and strategies currently being used by the men's movement, so that individuals around the KSU community can more easily make an informed decision regarding those issues. Well, I've read the rest of your blog, and the entire thing is dedicated specifically to attacking men's rights activists, to attacking people who want to address men's issues. That's what your entire blog is dedicated to, specifically Sage Gerard of KSU Men, specifically Paul Elam of A Voice for Men, and the staff of A Voice for Men, who talk about these issues. We're going to have a conference November 1st to talk about these issues. This clearly is a really, and I see this all the time. Men's rights activists don't really want to help men. They don't, they don't really talk about these issues. They're going to misinform you. Don't listen to men's rights activists. Listen to us. We'll tell you the truth about men's issues. That's what these people are simply just trying to derail the efforts of the men's rights movement to address these issues in an effective manner, so they can continue to control the entire public discourse, the entire narrative about issues in regards to sex in our society. That's what they're doing. And it's a pathetic attempt to discredit us. Unfortunately, they've had some success in doing this amongst stupid people who can't read and think critically for themselves. That's unfortunately, they've had some success with this. But anybody who comes to A Voice for Men and reads our website, reads the material there, and I would say anybody who actually goes to this KSU Men event, they will see the truth. They will see an entirely different story. They'll see a bunch of people who are passionate about men's issues, who are reasonable, who do not threaten people with rape, who are not there to hurt anybody. That's what they're going to see, and that's what you don't want them to see. The rest of the blog is, of course, what you would expect. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat room. But here's what's happened. These people have actually raised $500 to stage a protest against this event that KSU Men is having at Kennesaw State University on November 1st. We wanted to get Sage Gerard on the show tonight, but he had a prior commitment with Paul Elam. He's doing an interview with him, so unfortunately we couldn't get him. I would have made this the centerpiece of the show had I been able to get Sage Gerard on, but I could not. But this is expect this. I mean, I fully expect this to be another flop. These people, if they do come, they're going to come, and it's not going to be this huge group of people. I doubt that they're all going to be from Kennesaw State University. I'm sure they're going to bring other people in to protest this, and I don't think they're going to be as nice as they say they're going to be. They say they're going to be, we're just going to have a polite, nice little counter protest here, and we're just going to have signs and everything. I kind of doubt that, considering the some of the things I've seen occur at the University of Toronto and other places where men's rights activists have dared speak publicly about the issues they're concerned about. I've seen a lot of people pulling fire alarms, a lot of people jumping up and down and screaming, people actually carrying axe handles and bullhorns trying to shut down the event. They were actually successful in shutting down the event in a very disorderly way. These are people who are not about free speech. They don't want that. And what they're doing is they're trying to project those same characteristics that they have onto men's rights activists. This might work in the short run, It's not going to work in the long run. It's not. So I'm going to be watching this carefully. Of course, I was going to try to make it down there myself, but unfortunately, I don't have the finances to do that. We're all men's rights activists. We're broke. But we're definitely going to be covering this. I'm definitely going to be on this phone with Sage and Paul throughout the event to see what's going on. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because this is going to be the first time that AVFM has sponsored and is going to be very intimately involved with a campus event here in the U.S. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. Paul's going to give a very interesting speech about Title IX, the Title IX hysteria that's going on, the Dear Colleague letter. Looking forward to the reaction to that. It's about time somebody actually got on a college campus, and a men's rights activist got on a college campus and started speaking about it. Very much looking forward to the reaction here. But anyway, these folks have actually raised $500. Yay! We'll see what they do with all that money. Go ahead and peruse through their blog. They make a lot of interesting claims. Of course, they have the usual, taking quotes out of context from AVFM. Apparently, they're saying that we spent all this money on the event and that, we're all highly paid professionals and, we're a bunch of hacks and stuff like that. All the same things that you hear, these lies you hear. I haven't gotten paid a single penny for anything that I've done here at AVFM. I don't know if Paul's got Sage on the payroll. I kind of doubt it. We don't have a whole lot of money coming in. We have a whole lot of bills, but we don't have a whole lot of money coming in. But anyway, I don't want to get into the finances too much. But anyway, James, tell me what you think about this whole thing.
I'm looking forward to seeing videos.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing the video of these people and seeing what they're all about. It's pretty hysterical, but to be expected. Actually, I was expecting a lot more pushback. I was expecting calls to have Sage expelled. I was expecting to see calls for outrage in the local media, but instead we have this Tumblr blog and this growing number of students, faculty, and staff that think they're going to derail what's going on down there. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think they're going to get very far. And I think that if my experience proves correct, they will succeed in making giant fools out of themselves. That's what they're going to succeed at. So anyway, folks, call in. The phone number again is 214-272-0408. Again, that is 214-272-0408. Feel free to share.
Hello, caller.
Hey, guys. Turn John calling. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, John. How you doing, man? What's up?
Oh, I was just listening to the program before, and you were talking about that anonymous Tumblr blog, and I had a thought.
Yes.
This might actually be a cause for celebration on our part.
Mm-hmm.
We may be forcing them, not literally feminist auditors who are listening, forcing them through our strategies to take a more rational approach. They seem to have learned that acting like a bunch of maniacs, like at Toronto in 2012, didn't really work out very. Yeah. So they may be adjusting their strategy. And as they adjust their strategy, they are beginning to play on our terms. And once they've decided to do that, well, obviously, they have zero experience doing this, and this is all we do. I mean, we are going to end up cleaning their clock because of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I anticipated a much more pushback. But what you're saying, I think, is correct. They have now adopted. They've been forced into attempting to be taking a more rational approach to, because they made such fools out of themselves up in Toronto. but now they're forced now to go along the proper channels and procedures of protesting something you don't agree with. You can still lie about people. There's nothing illegal about that, but you can't pull fire alarms and shut down protests and bring axe handles and threaten people and scream at people like Big Red without people at the very least thinking that you're a moron. But I still think they're going to make fools out of themselves because, the only thing that the press has to do if they come there is attend the event. And if they report on it accurately, which the press does not do, and we know that that's the case after what happened with the men's conference in Detroit, or in St. Clair Shores, rather, it wasn't in Detroit, then these people end up really looking like fools. It's just because logic is not on their side. But yeah, I think you're right. I think we should be celebrating this.
What this kind of reminds me of is one of those poor athletes that has to make up for their lack of skill on the playing field by pulling dirty tricks like tripping people or, shoving someone in the shins with their elbow or some other dirty trick in order to gain advantage. And finally, it's not working anymore. So
yes,
those advantages that they have relied upon for so very long that have never been challenged before, are now being removed because there's a new referee on the field, and he's called the Internet. Right.
And he's always been there, but we haven't, people have not made much, he hasn't always been there. But for the first time, people are starting to utilize this free flow of information, and that's what we're doing, and we're going to use it to our maximum effect. And I think in the end, as I think always, people will see what's going on.
Yeah,
we just have to point their attention to it. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Also, if you don't mind, I'd like to transition to another subject you brought up this evening. And that was the false rape accusation reports in India.
Yep.
And so many of them. And I've been mulling this idea over for quite a while. And I think that one of the main problems here with false rape accusations is that when the average person is faced with a report, someone claims that they have been raped, particularly a woman, they will almost certainly want to believe it. And I think the reason is they immediately feel alone because they're afraid that if they do not give this person the benefit of the doubt, it will very quickly turn into a situation where if they're wrong, they suddenly bear some responsibility. It's almost like they have assisted in a crime because they didn't come to the person's aid. And I think that one of the things we can do to help people in this situation is just to remind them that there is someone else involved here. And that's someone who's been accused of doing something terrible. And if they don't give this some serious thought, if they don't wait until all the facts are in, they could be doing something horrible to an innocent person as well.
Yeah.
And I think if we just gently remind people when these cases happen, hey, you certainly don't want to victimize this person who might have been hurt very badly, but if you're not careful, you could end up doing something just as horrible to someone else. That will stop people. It will stop them long enough to think about things and to, put the brakes on and just let the facts come in. And so they can finally make a rational decision instead of a knee-jerk response like usual.
Do you have any thoughts on any of the other stories that we've been talking about tonight?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, cool. But actually, let me ask you, what do you think about this? What's happened to this wrestling coach in Wisconsin?
To be honest, yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at that story yet, to study it in any detail, so I probably shouldn't comment just yet.
Okay. All right. Cool. Great. Now, this do you have any thoughts on the Feminist Utopia article that James just read?
I'm sorry, Bob, you're breaking up there. I'm
Okay.
having a hard time hearing you.
Do you have any thoughts on the Feminist Utopia article that James just read?
Oh, okay. Now you said Utopia. Yeah, it sounds like a pipe dream to me.
Well, yeah.
if
well, of course, the thing is that these people actually exist, and these people are actually they are at the helm of the feminist movement. Whether you like it or not, or whether you think it's not true or not, it's true. These people are the thought leaders of the feminist movement, and this is the ideology that's driving so much of what's going on our college campuses and our justice system and in other areas in our society. This ideology, right?
Yes, certainly. I guess I can't disagree with that. For my only question for the people who write this crazy stuff is if men really are this bad, if they're really this horrible, and powerful and all controlling and all working together, how do they plan to stop it?
Well, I think they're planning to stop something that really doesn't exist. This whole patriarchy theory, it just doesn't. They can't stop it because it's something that just doesn't exist. This almighty, fantastic patriarchy in which all men collectively have their foot down on the necks of all women is just something that doesn't exist.
Right.
That's the real pipe dream.
Yeah, I agree that that's their perspective, but if they're only going to be able to rely upon women to do this, and women are under the control of men, and men won't help women, this feminist utopia is fantasy land by their own logic. It cannot exist. It will not exist. They cannot make it happen.
Well, I mean, by their own logic, yes. The issue here is getting men to put their necks into the noose. And
right.
while you may have this individual who wrote this is utter ideologue and just utterly ideological, the people who are actually pushing know that they need to get men to put their necks into the noose.
So what you're talking about is some sort of voluntary surrender on the part of all men, I guess.
The force of law and the coercion of the state are two of the biggest weapons that they have available to them. Like I said, these are the individuals that are informing policy.
Okay, so
you drive men out of a lot of the education, and eventually do your best to drive them out of certain political sectors. You maintain a stranglehold on culture. You indoctrinate them while they are young. It is incremental. It's intergenerational.
There's something here I wanted to share with you guys. There's an article that was published on this Which Wind WordPress or Radical Wind WordPress. I was just thumbing through it, but some very interesting things they're talking about. The summary of lefty anti-feminist tactics, and they have a little info. They have a little graphic here showing the different intersectionalities of what they think are anti-feminist groups, and there are many anti-feminist groups. But there's a list of bullet points here, and it's titled Male Tactics of Anti-Feminist Abuse and Sabotage of Feminism. First one, division and isolation of women. Men isolate us from feminist and female-centered perspectives. and prevent our bonding with women. Men organize our dependency and loyalty to their groups and class interests, which pits us against one another. Now, that's number one. I'm sorry, but you can say all that about feminism and what it does to men. You can say all of it, and that's demonstrably true of feminism in regards to men. Okay, the next bullet point is reversal of blame, reversal of reality. Women are treated as oppressors and as guilty, men as victims, or as not so responsible of their violence, of patriarchy. Constant guilt tripping of women. Again, she just described a feminist, this tactic that feminists have used.
Hey, I'm gonna add Jack Barnes into this call.
Oh,
okay,
great,
cool.
Jack.
Jack Barnes, welcome.
Jack, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Iron John, Robert.
What's going on?
Yeah, the Radical Wind article that you guys were just talking about, and the pushing men out of college campuses. I think James, you read that article. This all it's all along the same line. Think about this. 50 years from now, the people that are graduating from college will be retired. They'll be out of the people who are graduating college now will be retired. Now imagine if there are few or no men going to college. So you walk into a courtroom, the prosecutor is a woman, your lawyer is a woman, the judge is a woman. You go to the doctor's a woman. Most, if not all, elected officials are women. It's utopia. Women have all the power.
Well, it's like I was going back to saying what the goal is with the war on men and boys in education is to turn males into the educational underclass. Very important to do this if they want this utopia to become a reality. They want they don't want men in any kind of decision-making capacity or men actually writing research papers about things or adding commentary to the public discourse. They don't want that. They don't want that. They only want, it's not that they just want women doing this. They want feminist ideologues doing this and nobody else. It's this ideology they want to be in control.
Yeah. If there's no men graduating college, or very few men graduating college, college to become a lawyer, and lawyers, some of them become judges, and then you got to have a college degree to become a politician. For I believe in the United States, don't you have to have a college degree to be elected to Congress and Senate?
No, there's the what they call the hidden qualifications of going to office. You can certainly get elected to any number of elected positions. Maybe it differs from state to state, but I do know that having a college degree is not a requirement to being elected the president of the United States. But there's no way that any party would support you unless you had at least a master's degree, I would think. So they call that one of the hidden qualifications. But it's just as real. I mean, it's just as real. You're just not who. It's this thing, this idea of the college degree. You're only taken seriously if you have a degree. Now, unfortunately, now you can only get a degree now if you adhere to this stupid ideology. Increasingly, that's becoming the case. And increasingly, it's becoming the case you can only get this degree if you're female. And that's their goal. That's their goal. Turn men into the educational underclass.
I'm going to look it up right now, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in my state, my home state of Tennessee, you have to have a college degree before you can run for Congress.
State legislature. Okay, I see. Right. Oh,
for
Congress. Okay.
State legislature, but for the federal level.
For federal. Okay. All right. Interesting. That may very well be true. I know that. Well, at least last time I checked, when I was going to school in my U.S. Studies class, my professor Dr. Gregory, great guy. I'm sure he would. I'd love to have him on the show sometime. But he spoke of the hidden qualifications. Of course, one of them is you got to be good looking. You have to have a family. You have to have a dog.
A dog.
You have to have a dog. He said this is one of the hidden qualifications. You have to have a pet. Bill Clinton had a cat, but then he eventually got a dog. Eventually. But having a dog having some kind of pet is very important. A four-legged pet. Now, if you have a snake, you're probably never going to get like the president.
Yeah.
John McCain had an iguana for a pet. That's why they didn't elect him to. That's why he lost the primary.
Oh, well.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sure I know there were other reasons, but anyway. Yeah, I'm going to go down this list. I'm going to continue to go down this list. The bullet point number 3 is violation of space and integrity. Men or male-identified women impose their presence and their male-centered anti-feminist perspective of oppression on feminists and will refuse to respect boundaries set by the women or collective. Use of sexual violence. Now, okay, so this whole violation of space and what you were just talking about in your article, James, where they were saying that men should not be allowed to form groups or anything like that. Clearly, this is clearly a tactic that they are openly proposing that be enacted. And the bullet point number 4 is installing a climate of fear and insecurity. Accusers of isms or of phobias present themselves as all-powerful judges. Okay. They use the threat of public shaming in order to obtain submission. Effective repression against those who don't comply, who are female-centered, i.e. verbal abuse, public shaming, scapegoating, etc. Amazing. You can in reality, that is in fact the truth of feminists and not of this fantastic patriarchy these people keep on talking about. Recruiting allies and ensuring impunity. Infiltrators, whether male or female, are very good at recruiting new allies, regurgitating a few feminist ideas and lines, gaining a lot of people's approval at providing help in order to create a sense of gratitude, etc., to prevent being called out. Oh, feminists never do this. They never do that. Devaluation of feminism and women's work. Women's feminist writing never treated or credited Women's feminist writing never treated or credited seriously. Really, please. Defamation of feminists. Women's work and collectives are treated as expendable, are denigrated, stolen, erased, sabotaged, or trashed. Yeah. Feminists never do that to MRAs. They never do that. They never do this to men. Ever. Crazy. I mean, these people, and I can't say this enough. It's this ideology. These people, and people laugh at me when I say this. It's true. These people are the ones who have gained control of the Office of Civil Rights in the Department of Education. These people, along with family court lawyers, trial lawyers, have gained control over family court system. They've sabotaged our media. They've sabotaged our political process. These people, the people who wrote what I just read, they're the ones who and no one sees this. No one sees this except for people who've taken the red pill, and thankfully our numbers are growing. But just, I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I interrupt you there for just a second?
Sure. Yeah.
I just looked it up and I was wrong. There,
Oh.
I read an article here from the New York Times back in December of 2009, and at that time there were 27 House members and 1 senator that did not have a college degree. So I was wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, it might that might no, it's perfectly fine. Many people would think that. And I'm sure maybe there are some states that require that you have some kind of education before, college level education before you can run. But I think right now in the federal, as far as I know as far as being president, you don't necessarily have to have an education. I think the last president that was elected that didn't have a college degree was Truman. He did not have a college degree, but he was the last one, and he was a damn good president.
Yeah.
God, if we had him now. If only we had him in office now. But unfortunately, he would be unelectable in our country today because he was not underhanded, and he had principle, and he cared about ideas.
Yeah. But back to what you were talking about there at Kennesaw. I will be down there.
Oh, sweet.
I will have a video camera.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good.
I think you guys have my phone number, but if you don't, I'm going to send it to you here in just a minute so you guys can call me while I'm down there, and I'll give you a heads up on what's going on.
Yeah, good. Skype it to me because I got a new phone not too long ago. I'm pretty sure I had your phone number in my other phone, but I lost a lot of data. So please, just text it to me via Skype, and I'll definitely be calling you. What time does the event start? Starts at like what? 4 in the evening?
I'm really sure I'm going to be down there a day or so to help
That's cool. That's great. That's really great of you to do that, Jack. I guess you're driving over. It's not how far away from where you live? It's about a 3-hour drive, I guess, or something like that.
About 400 miles, give or take.
Oh, okay. I didn't think it was that far away.
I live closer to Memphis.
Oh, okay. I see. Right. I was about to say, probably in Western Tennessee. I'm sure it'll be a pretty drive.
Yeah.
That's great. I want to talk about your activism, Jack. You were really invaluable at the Men's Issues Conference in St. Clair. I mean, the work you put in there and what you're doing down at Kennesaw State University. I mean, the kinds of stuff that you do, and you're one of the certainly, you're a high-profile men's rights activist, but like so many other people in this movement, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of work you do that a lot of people don't see that you need to get praised for, and this is certainly an example of it. And I'm sure Sage appreciates it, and I know that Paul does, and I want to let you know that I do too. It's really great of you to be present there. I wish I could be there, but unfortunately I can't. So.
Well, thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. But I'm able to do some of this stuff, because of my job. I travel around. I'm all over the country, and I'm able to go places and be there when other people can't. So I kind of do what I can to represent the people who can't be there.
Right. Always greatly appreciated. Always.
But, these people, do they not get on the internet and see what other feminists have done and went, ooh, that didn't work for them. We don't need to do that. I mean, it's kind of like, they think that this hasn't been done before.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess they're ideologues. They have rigid ways of thinking of things. And you could also point to people who honestly think that feminism is an egalitarian ideology, that honestly believe they've been indoctrinated to believe that it's all about gender equality, and it's also about helping men to, these people of this menformation thing. The perfect example of what I'm talking about, the people who are going to go protest the Kennesaw State University men group. These people are living in La La Land. They've been handed this script, and they have not analyzed what's going on. They haven't. They're useful idiots. They do what they're told. They say what they're told to say, and that's what they do. So you have these feminists. They call themselves the happy, really cool feminists that really are about gender equality. What they are is they're just a bunch of useful idiots. And then you have the people who are really in charge. And the people, these radical people of this this Radical Wind blog. It's these people who really, really are the people at the rudder, because you see the fruits of feminism, the erosion of due process, the demonization of men, the war on men in our school system. It's because you see the fruits of feminism that that these people are in charge. The way that fathers have been demonized, and that men who have children have no rights over them anymore. That's the fruit of feminism. You can tell a tree by its fruit.
Yeah.
And that's it. This is feminism. This is what they do. This is what they do. You know? It's easy to just... Go ahead.
The faculty down there that's pulling the strings, you can see...
You know, I'd be interested to see just how many people in the faculty are going to be a part of this protest. That would be a great thing if you could figure... Yeah.
They won't be there. They're not going to show up down there at the protest. What they do is they get all these students riled up and get them all good and worked up and pissed off and send them out there when they sit in offices.
Right.
They're not going to be there themselves. But you go over and they had a fundraiser, and I wish I had the link to that, but they had a fundraiser, and you go over there and look at the names on the fundraiser that donated money, and a couple of the big donors are faculty at Kennesaw State University.
Okay. Look at this. I'm looking at this right now.
I can't remember exactly.
There's only 13 donations. They only raised $560 so far. Actually, they may have raised more.
Yeah.
Yeah, $560. Not a lot of money.
No.
13 donations. Caitlin Zay, an anonymous. Scott Ritchie, Robbie Lieberman, Cindy Fountain, another anonymous. Anonymous. Caitlin Zay, that was the second time she, okay. Scott Ritchie.
Well, we should grab the whole list and, you know.
Right, yeah, I can't seem to get all 15. I'm going to get 11. Oh, hold on, so I got 11 to 15. Linda Shuford, Evans.
In any case, you can pretty much be guaranteed that only those who want to pick a fight are going to put their names. So
Going to put the names on there, yeah, right.
So, go figure.
Yeah. This Menformation thing is a total riot, though. I mean, just reading this this blog. I mean, you know, all the stupid little tricks they try to pull that just really have been shown to be very ineffective. They're doing this.
Okay. Do you see a name says Lieberman?
Yeah.
Donation list. Okay, that person is the chair of the Department of Gender Studies.
Oh, of course, yes. Okay. All right. Well, that's to be expected.
Robbie Lieberman.
Yeah.
Sage,
I really wish that Sage was talking with us, because I know when he started getting interested in men's issues, he approached a guy that was heading a group on Kennesaw State University. I can't remember his name, but he attended a couple of meetings with these guys, and one of the rules of the group was that you could not talk about what was said during the meetings when you were not there, and you couldn't maintain any kind of communication with the other participants of the meetings, and that raised a big red flag for him. So he decided to not associate himself with that group, and that's when he started KSU Men. I wonder, and I wish I could remember his name. I wonder if that guy is going to be part of the protest, or is going to have anything to say about this. Darn, I really wish that Sage was here with us to talk about it. Fortunately, Paul's got him right now, but I'll definitely ask him that later on, because that's a really interesting question. So, anyway, it's 10:40 right now. James, do we have anything else? I did have one story that I wanted to cover, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. We talked about it during the music break. Do you want to go to another music break and then ask for more callers to come in?
Yeah, we can do that. Well, actually, you know, we're getting close to the wire, man.
Right, yeah, it is 10:41 right now, so might be a good time to end it, you know.
If you want, we can.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think we're getting any more callers. Like you said, we only got 15. We only got 15 more minutes, and um, so I think that's pretty much probably a good time to end it. It's been a
All
good
right.
show. I'm glad, guys. I'm really glad you called in, Iron John and Jack. Thanks for calling in. It's been a great show. Really great chatting with you guys. Always great chatting with you guys. And let's definitely, Jack. Let's definitely keep in touch about goings on down there at Kennesaw State University. Really looking forward to seeing what happens down there. So
Yeah, there's gonna be several of us down there. I know of 4 MLAs that are at least 4 that are planning on traveling. Then that's not counting like Paul and Karen.
yeah, right. Good. Well, I mean, do we have any ideas how big the list of attendees is going to be? I mean, is it going to be a full house that they're going to be talking to?
I have not heard.
Okay, I'll talk.
Really,
I'll have Sage about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. I always enjoy talking with you guys. And
Great.
Iron John, I hope I didn't steal your thunder, man. I kind of talked for a while, and I hope I didn't shut you out there.
No, it's perfectly fine, Jack. I'm always interested to hear your take on things, and as always, it's a pleasure being on A Voice for Men Radio.
Great. All right. Do you guys have any final advice for the listeners?
Dr. Iron John, is there any pills that we should take?
Take the red pill, guys.